Bible Institute are excited to announce the launch of a new digital tool on the data dashboard. New Orleans Public Schools, 20 years later, a timeline of recovery, transformation, and growth. The tool provides data, information, and context on the past 20 years of K-12 education in New Orleans, the changes that occurred, and the outcomes these changes helped produce. Visit nolapublicschools.com/K20 to view the tool and learn more.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A new Texas law bans diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public schools, including DEI offices. Sherry Sylvester is with the Texas Public Policy Foundation.
DEI is a program that divides students into two groups, oppressed and oppressors.
The ACLU and student advocates are suing, calling the law discriminatory and harmful to marginalized students. It takes effect this fall. Dr. Melanie Bryant has been named director of Baltimore's LGBTQ+ Affairs Office. She'll lead efforts to expand resources and equity for LGBTQ+ residents. The city's black mayor, Brandon Scott, calls her appointment timely as Bryant, also black, vows to support the community amid growing federal challenges. And BET is laying off hundreds as part of Paramount Global's latest workforce cuts. Black CEO Scott Mills says the move will streamline operations while preserving core content areas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Wake up, New Orleans, and happy Thursday. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Aaron Sanders. My problem-solving super producer, and my co-host, Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Good morning, New Orleans.
It's Thursday, and I know you know each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK, but unfortunately, our congressman is plenty busy, and he will not be able to call in this Thursday. I know y'all going to miss him, but if you have questions for the congressman, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can still call 504-582-9422 and share your questions with us, and we will gladly share them with the congressman. But he will not be on the call today, and we will miss him greatly, but he's doing some real work, and we'd rather him be on the front lines of the real work. He could talk to us next Thursday.
A lot of things happening in
Looking
DC.
forward to it, Congressman. So look, the floor is open, and we're going to talk about some things. I know there was a lot of conversation around the things we were talking about yesterday, Will. So if you want to revive some of those conversations, because we didn't really have all of the time, we could absolutely do so. I want to shout out all of the WBOK listeners, those who engaged in the chat, and those who called in. Don and I had a very spirited conversation on yesterday, and I look forward to him calling back today, because I wanted to continue to have discourse with him. It's just that we had other callers and we were on a time crunch. So Don, please feel free, if you want to share your views or continue to espouse on your views. The number is 504-582-9422. And I also want to say that, you know, we try very hard here to respect everybody's perspective and purviews and what your stance is on things. And this is why we have these sorts of conversations, to push each other's thinking. But I think in terms of what this platform stands for and what we do here to amplify Black voices and Black experiences, we have to be very careful not to lend our perspective to the opposition in terms of talking points, right? Because soon as one Black person says something, the opposition will pick it up and say, like, as if all Black people feel this way or all Black people think this way. No, we don't. We're not a monolith. We are very well-versed people. There are opposing sides even within our community, as it is with other communities as well. So I don't like when folk pick up a brush and think they could just paint us all one way. No, we have different ways of seeing things, different perspectives, and they're all welcomes here. We just ask that you just be very, very mindful of what you lend your perspective to, because folk are collecting your thoughts as if it is the collection of Black experiences in totality, right? Holistically. And no, it's not that. I mean, there are Black folk who voted for Trump. That doesn't mean that all of us have those views. You know, there are Black folk who did not vote for Kamala. We don't all have to agree, but what we all must agree on is that we have to own the reality of our vote.
And there are Black folks who didn't vote.
Yeah,
That
there are
is
people
what
in every
worries
demographic
me.
that didn't
I mean,
vote.
I
But for the purpose of this conversation, yes, we have far too many registered voters who are not exercising their right to vote, and I think nowhere will we see the consequences of that more than local elections. And even our state election, because who our governor is also affects how the state runs, which affects how New Orleans has to operate. Because, you know, when folk who are from New Orleans say out loud, especially on a public platform, I'm from New Orleans, I'm not from Louisiana, that confuses a lot of people. But I also try to say, like, mind your business, because if you understood the context of it, then you wouldn't be confused, right? But a lot of the times they want to give you a geography lesson because you're saying you're from New Orleans and not Louisiana. And then you have to laugh at them because, of course, we know New Orleans is in Louisiana.
Yes.
Of course, we know that. But if you live here, you would also feel like you're not in Louisiana when you're watching everything around you happen. And then you have a totally different experience in the city of New Orleans. And I think that's part of what a certain subset of people are trying to change. You want New Orleans to operate like Louisiana, and that's not our thing. That's not culturally New Orleans. It's not native New Orleans. It's not indigenous to New Orleans to operate like Louisiana. No. I stand on that.
Yeah.
I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah, I've lived a number of different places, and there are mostly state regulators of utilities. Just to use one example, our city council is the regulator of utilities in the city and parish of Orleans. That doesn't happen everywhere. And we've got at-large council members, and we've got a city council by charter that has districts and at-large, but we don't have 30 or 40 of them like Chicago, where you got a little bit of slice. You're representing thousands of people if you're elected to represent a council district, and certainly the entire city if you're elected at large. So that makes these campaigns really important for people to get engaged, because you have the opportunity to say, here are the things that are important to me, my neighborhood, my family, my community, my city, and who's going to be the best for me. You're kind of placing a bet. You might have some history of a record if somebody has been an incumbent, but you're placing a bet that they're going to be as good as they have been in your eyes, or that it's time for a change. Well, you don't think so?
Well, that's one of the questions I often have when elections come up, and I want us to really have real honest conversations about what it is we want in a politician. Because the moment we get someone in office and they actually do the job of the office and they're actually working for the community, you have folk who have band their money and their resources together to unseat them. And I'm always looking like, why? And I'm always asking, why is the community kind of just sitting by and allowing a certain group of people to determine what happens for an entire city? And so, the most staunch representation of that out off the top of my brain would be Dr. Donaldo Batiste. He was elected to a seat to represent the best interests of children and the best interests of education. Had the entire his resume reads like a CVS receipt. You know what I mean? And so what more did we want in that candidate? but it wasn't us. We didn't decide to unseat him, and we didn't all show up in ways that we claim we did, because I'm going to say it very often and very loudly that a lot of folk who pretended to support Dr. Donaldo Batiste couldn't have supported him, because the results show us otherwise. And I'm going to stand on that. And they know who they are, and if they feel hit, they can holler. But they know who they are. And so I'm sick of the facade of it all. Like, you cannot tell me that the person opposing him deserved to unseat him. There's her resume didn't compare in terms of what is required for the seat, because you can be the best realtor known to do real estate. That's not what the seat requires. The seat requires expertise in education and understanding of policy, understanding, how to be a good steward of your fiduciary responsibility. That has nothing to do with your background, and that's why you can't go sit on nobody's nursing board, without some sort of medical experience or expertise in that field. I wouldn't be able to do that. That's not my lane. And I respect that. I want you to hold me to account of what your standard is. But we could always play in the faces of children here in the city of New Orleans, because you can't tell me that she was a better fit for the seat. I don't understand how she's sitting there and he's not. I'm going to continue to say that. And so when I look at the council, there are people who actually do their jobs. And I wonder all the time, when people oppose them, why? Why are you doing that?
Right.
Are you upset with what actually? Like, what haven't they delivered on? What is their voting record saying to you that makes you feel like it's out of balance with what the community wants? And I just want to know these things. And I think I can ask them here, because when I moderate these panels, that's not something I'll be able to ask, because the questions will come from the WBOK listening audience and all of the people who submit questions. But I want to understand that when you decide to run for a seat, do you in your mind gauge what the candidate or what the incumbent has done as opposed to what you would like to see happen for the city? Or are you just opposing them because somebody put you in a position to say, run for this seat because we need the power of that seat? That's the structure that I want to disband in New Orleans. And I'm going to keep talking about it, and maybe people will start to listen, because what does it do for those of us who depend on our representative to represent our interests? Those are the things that I would like to have conversations around. Why are you running for city council? Are you running for city council as a stepping stone because you eventually think you want to be the mayor of the city? Do you have, is that your reason? Or do you really want to do what is best for this community, this city, on a local level, to make certain that we protect the crown jewel that she is? Like, is that what we're doing? Or are we looking for a seat on the council to, like, battle with the mayor? Like, what is the reason people are going after these seats? I think that's, to me, more often than not, my question.
So let me ask you a question based on that. So I hear you, and I think that's very legitimate, and I think people should think about that more, especially when you see an incumbent and then they don't have a challenger. It's like 8, 9 people,
Yeah.
And so if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying start with the assumption that maybe they've been doing okay to great and judge them with what they have done and consider that as a part of incumbent. You're not saying vote for all incumbents.
No, that's not what I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
There are some people who deserve to be unseated.
Right.
My question is, but what thermometer are we using when we say we want the seat? Because what happened to Dr. Donaldo Batiste ought to be studied. Like, somebody ought to study that and literally break it down. Maybe I'll do it, because I really want to understand how that happened. When I'm watching you blast talk all over the map in terms of forums, couldn't hold a candle to him, because he's well versed on every level of academia, right? So you can't say, oh, she showed up well at the forum. That wouldn't be the truth, right? You can't say she shows up well on paper. That wouldn't be the truth. So tell me why we're unseating him. For a person with zero experience sitting on a board that governs policy for academic outcomes for children, right? That, like, Why are you there? Well, we're really and truly, they don't govern policy. They don't do nothing. Maybe that was the draw for you because you feel like they don't do anything. You just need to have like a resume builder. I don't know. But what I do know is him sitting on the board was trying to push us in the direction of creating this idea that our board would do what every other board in the state of Louisiana does when it governs academic outcomes for kids. That's why we wanted him there. Because the attitude that he had was about being pro public education, very student centered, right? Very accountability centered, and we took it away. For what reason and what rationale? And I'll ask this to anybody who supported that. Anybody. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what your name is. I want to know, how could you support that and stand on that and say that you did what was in the best interest of children? And I'm also tired of people who grift kids and make their resume on the backs of children. Then they go into a different industry and act like they didn't have no responsibility for what we're currently experiencing in education. I'm sick of that too. I just want to understand how we're going to get our city back, how we're going to continue to protect our city if we're making decisions like that. That's my problem. When I look at the council seats, right, and I look at it, it seems everybody has a challenger. It seems.
Looks that way.
It seems. And I understand the numbers in Georgia Russo's district because it's an open seat.
It is.
Some of these things I really want to ask people, and that's not a bad question. I just want to know what is your rationale for running, right? What do you feel like you bring to the table that the incumbent does not? What do you think you will do differently or better than he's done or she's done? Because then that will kind of give me some insight as to what you think the deficiencies are, or where do you think the growth areas are. But to just unseat people like Dr. Donaldo Batiste simply because it's like a power grab or it's something to just do because it looks good on your resume, I got a problem with that. I really do. And I really don't care about what nobody else thinks. This is my field of expertise. I don't go in anybody else's field and proclaim to be an expert. But right here, this is my house. Yeah. And I'm going to keep on defending it every single time because that's what we have to start doing. That's what we have to start doing. I don't want no doctors to sit around while they let amateurs talk about medical advice like we have with RFK. That's why he dumb as a box of rocks. And you want to tell experts. There are senators who are pediatricians telling this fool about his policies and how they're going to hurt babies. And he's sitting there talking about, oh, did I say that? Who said that? You said it, sir.
Right. Yeah.
Are we really living in like an alternate universe or something, Will? Like, is that too much to ask? I don't proclaim to be anybody's journalist, right? I don't want to, I stay in my lane.
Right.
I want people to stay in their lanes as it relates to our children. I'm so tired of folk walking in out of other places and spaces thinking, oh, let me go try my hand at education today. You know what I mean? And my babies can't read because we playing. And then we say, oh, there's no workforce. Yeah, because you have no school system. All the kids can do is, Will, you want paper or plastic? Give me your keys, Will. Let me park your car, right? Let me wash it for you. I'm sick of that. We relegate our babies to that, and then everybody else building their children up for more. I'm sick of it. So for me, that's how important elections are, in my opinion. What does it matter if people are just going to buy the seats and control the outcomes? What does it matter to tell people, vote, vote, vote? When it seems to me like we're doing all of this work and I understand how folks are defeated when you're pounding the pavement, you're knocking on doors, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and folks could get blasted in forums. They don't show up well on paper. They can't talk policy with you. They can't talk anything about the seat that they're running for, but yet they get elected? How? And I felt so awful when that happened to Dr. Batiste because I was one of the people that called him and say, sir, please consider running for this seat. Like, we need you to continue in this seat. I was one of those people. But I also know what it's like to be a candidate and to pour your blood, sweat, and tears into something and watch them just take it from you. Huh?
Yeah.
That to me, that's like, what are we saying here? How do we break that structure? That's the structure I want to break.
Yeah, one of the things about incumbents is sometimes you can see an incumbent at their forums, at their community meetings. They're going to the neighborhood meetings. You can get them or their staff on the phone. You can see them at council or education, the school board or whichever agency operation they are a part of. And we might think, well, everything's okay. Well, it's a demanding job, and you have to lift them up. You can challenge them. We should hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
But when you have a situation where somebody you think is doing a great job, when it's time to consider them continuing or not, you can't sit back and say it'll be okay.
Because
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because clearly
sometimes
that doesn't
it's not
work.
okay. We have to go to break, but when we come back, we'll continue to talk about it. There's been an update on the travel ban as it relates to the council and the mayor of the city of New Orleans. The judge has decided. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
All day long, y'all.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Lowe's.com. A lot of companies are dropping DEI and specifically removing words like diversity from internal documents and company websites. But is the change in terminology a pushback against DEI values? Joelle Emerson says she doesn't think a lot of firms are actually shifting away from diversity. She's CEO of Paradigm, a consulting firm that helps businesses with culture building. She says the DEI rollback is largely in name only and says it's important to remind companies that a lot of elements of DEI are still popular.
Things like making sure that you're opening up access to your company to people from different backgrounds, like veterans who might not have known about the technology industry. Things like robust parental leave policies so that caregivers can return to work.
Paradigm is trying to lean into the policies and values that are important to keep, regardless of what they're called. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So we had a huge new business pitch.
Attention, all hands on deck.
When, boom, our only printer was fried.
Up in smoke, like your chances of landing that account.
Well, I just sent the file to Staples. Devin, the print associate, was on it. She had it printed and bound same day.
So where's the drama?
There wasn't any. Staples made it super easy.
Inconceivable. For the products, services, and experts you need, Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Get ready, New Orleans. Join us for the inaugural Blessed 26 Golf Classic, July 5th at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course, 6514 Congress Drive. It's a 4-man scramble format with a 9 a.m. shotgun start. Enjoy great food, music, and a chance to win a brand new car. Register now at blessed26.ticketprice.com. Save the date, Saturday, July 5th for the Blessed 26 Golf Classic at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course. For more information, please call 50 284-9985. See ya on the green.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
To the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everybody. We have a caller on line one. Good morning, Don. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, Don. Turn him up for me now.
Yeah, right off the back, two things. The Louisiana Purchase and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Louisiana Purchase was settled for, this is their story, this is their history now, $15 million. The Louisiana purchase was purchased for $15 million. That's about $1 million per state. I think it was about 15 states involved in total. That's what became of the land, 15 states, U.S. states. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was between the United States and Mexico, which turned out to be the sale of modern-day Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, California for $18 million. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. But the reason people say the reason I would say I'm from New Orleans, because the Orleans Territory after the Louisiana Purchase was from what they consider the 33rd parallel, which is modern-day state line between Louisiana and Arkansas, to the Mississippi was considered Orleans Territory after the purchase. So New Orleans really wasn't a part of the Louisiana Purchase. It remained independent in a sense. The governor of Orleans Territory, Claiborne, after Claiborne Avenue was named after him, was also the first governor of the state of Louisiana after they petitioned to name the Orleans Territory, Louisiana. So Louisiana basically was purchased for $15 million, and what remained today, what we call Louisiana, was Orleans Territory. They wanted to name it Orleans State, the state of Orleans, but they petitioned to have it named the state of Louisiana. The North Shore, what they call the Florida parishes, that was off West Florida. And Southwest, what we know as Southwest Louisiana, was really Mexico, Spain, because the Mexicans beat the Spanish for their independence. And so the history is very intriguing in that respect. And the Louisiana Purchase was promulgated by the Haitian Revolution, Toussaint Louverture, and them becoming the first independent colony or country in the Western hemisphere. So the history, when you connect the puzzle, you look at how one thing triggered the other. And I think Haiti just now, maybe the last 10, 15, 20 years maybe, just now, I believe, paid off reparation they had to pay to France. It's ridiculous on its face just when you read it. But all I'm saying is that when we look at the history, it is not just, when they say, well, we want to get rid of DEI, and the history itself is very diverse. It's very diverse. If it's history, it has to be diverse. That's the whole nature of history. And even putting out history books and things that are historically factual, it is diverse because there's no one dominant or one aspect of history that humanity can rest its head on. Because if you
Don,
look
were you commenting on the idea that I was saying folk say they're from New Orleans and not Louisiana? Is that what you? Is
right?
that where we're going?
Because as I said, technically Louisiana was purchased, And what was known as I believe the District of Louisiana above the 33rd parallel became Missouri territory. Louisiana did not exist anymore as a territory or a state. It became a state after, I think, a group got together in southwest portion of where Louisiana is, and they petitioned the United States to name the Orleans Territory Louisiana, because Louisiana in and of itself did not exist anymore because it was purchased, the naming rights and everything. And so, as I say, Orleans, they wanted to get a hold of New Orleans because of the port. So when we hear things about the Port of New Orleans today, that is not a new battle. That's been going on for centuries to control the Port of New Orleans.
Don, I always appreciate the history lesson. Thank you so much,
All
sir.
right, thank you very much for your time.
Have a blessed one.
All right.
Look, I always you always learn something when Don calls. But I wanted to be very clear about what where we were going with that. But I was preferencing an update as it relates to a judge determining that the city council's travel ban on the mayor is illegal and unconstitutional. And that ruling was made by Judge Jennifer Medley. She made the ruling Wednesday in Civil District Court. This comes after Judge Sidney Cates ruled that the travel ban violated the city's home rule charter, extending Mayor LaToya Cantrell's temporary restraining order, allowing her to travel. The city council can appeal the decision. The media reached out to City Council President J.P. Morrell and Cantrell's administration, as well as the council's attorney, for a statement regarding the ruling. At the time of the news coverage, J.P. Morrell had not responded, and the city of New Orleans issued the following statement. Today, Civil Court Judge Jennifer Medley ruled that the New Orleans City Council travel ban ordinances are unconstitutional and illegal, and therefore null and void. Further, the judge ruled that their travel ban ordinances violated the city's home rule charter. The judge reiterated that in New Orleans, we have a strong mayor form of government. This is the third time the courts have agreed with the administration that the council is exceeding its charter-granted authority as the legislative branch of government. And so, I mean, what do you think there, Will? I know some folk were in agreement with the council because the council made the decision in the wake of the battle for the city to turn over the school board's money to the kids. And so the rationale was that if you're saying that you can't give this money to the children because we're not in a financial position to do so, then if we're not financially grounded, then you don't need to travel as much. So they put restrictions on the travel. But the problem with that is the mayor traveling for business, and if she is, then is she not going to be allowed to represent the city's business other than in the city of New Orleans? How does that work?
Right. And what it comes down to, my opinion, is the mayor determines what the business is. Now, the mayor can determine that this is going to be helpful for New Orleans for me to go to a festival in Milan. And then we as citizens and city council can look at it and say, what was the benefit? We can do that. But she gets to decide what is for business. But the larger issue on this travel ban, it wasn't just affecting Mayor Cantrell. It was affecting city employees. And so there are people who were not going places based on the reading of the travel ban because they didn't want to take a trip that was going to be helpful for training or for their further development and education, and then show up in the news because they're violating the travel ban. So whoever is the next mayor will also decide which trips will be for business.
Well,
and then we can evaluate what those trips are worth.
Well, one thing I'm in alignment with is give the kids their money. I don't really, all that other stuff, none of that matters to me. I want the kids to have their money. And to say that we're so financially strapped that we can't turn over money that never belonged to us is, to me, absurd.
Right.
Like give the kids their money. And it likens itself, to this idea that these kids work during the summer and somehow we're not paid on time. That's a problem. And I'm told that it's not a NORD problem, it's a city problem. So if the city is having these sorts of problems, the question is then why?
Right.
Why? Because I know we're not broke, right? You're not going to sell that to me. And we always like to throw the word bond around. Everything is bonded around here. Like, if this money is coming in and you're just the steward of the money to ensure where it goes, that it goes to the place it's supposed to go, then you don't have no business touching it. It's not yours. You're just like a pass through, a thoroughfare, so to speak, right? It's not your money. That's like if Naren gave me money and say, Doc, give that to Will, it's for Will, and then I use it and I look at you like, well, I can't give it to you right now because I needed to pay my life. That's not, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I need to give you your money because it's yours. Why are we even in conversations about money that is earmarked for kids not going to kids? Why is this a conversation?
And I agree with that. What I'm saying is the two aren't tied together. City Council has tried to tie these two things together, and that's why the courts have ruled in
I
the mayor's
understand that.
favor.
I'm not saying
But-
I'm not disagreeing with them trying to. What I'm agreeing with them on is trying to hold people accountable to turning over money that does not belong to them. That's what because we always go to our council and we ask them, to step in when matters are not being done in different facets of this city. So if the thing is to turn the kids' money over, then I appreciate them trying to hold the city accountable to that. Now, the means in which you do it have to coincide with the home rule charter, but I still appreciate the fact that the conversations about accountability are happening. The methods are what's that questioned here. The way you're trying to hold her accountable is what's that question. But I don't not like the idea of holding folk accountable to the children of this city. And I don't care who the mayor would be. If you have a responsibility to turn over money that doesn't belong to you and it belongs to children, then you should do that. I don't know why this is a tug of war is what I'm saying. Why can't somebody just make the decision to say, here go your money? You know what I mean? Why? It's not yours to factor into your budget. It's theirs. So it's not a part of your budget. So don't tell me you don't have it because you should, because you got it. So where is it? That's all I'm saying. Why is this even a battle? Like, why are we fighting this when you know it's not yours? Now, you can fight all you want in terms of the method in which they're choosing to hold you accountable. The judge has said that that's unconstitutional. It flies in the face of the home rule charter. I respect it. But what I'm saying now is, where does that leave the children? Are they still in a lurch? Because monies were received, but monies were not allocated. That's all I'm asking. Why are we battling about something that we know should be happening?
Yeah. And I understand that. But they clearly have differences of opinion about how much, when, and which funds, and that's part of the problem.
But,
so
but
they're
don't.
not.
Well, that's not true. They don't have a difference of opinion. It was very clear what the deal was. The snag came because the city started to say we can't do this right now because we're not fiscally sound enough to honor the deal that we made to give you back the money that was never ours in the first place. There is no confusion about who the money belongs to on either side. There's no confusion about the parameters of the agreement that was made. The confusion came in because the mayor started to say that she was not a part of
the deal
signing
that
off
was
on
made.
this
The deal that was made.
But the deal was inside of the budget that she did sign off on. So if you signed off on the budget that requires this payout, then why can't we give the kids the money that has been agreed that they're owed? That's what I'm saying. There's no confusion about that, Will. I think everybody agreed to that. The problem is, I'm thinking here, this is not fair. I'm thinking that she felt like somebody overstepped because they didn't include her in on the conversation about the deal. And I would totally agree with that. You shouldn't have done it that way. But once they put the budget in front of her, it is my understanding, because I was in a city council meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you were there too,
Right.
where the conversation was, well, Mayor, we did give you the budget, and that was a line item in the budget that you did approve. And I thought at one point she agreed, right? And then went back and said, no, I don't. Am I mixing up the order of operations? Because I thought that's how it happened. But nonetheless, Will, nobody's disagreeing that the money is for the kids. Why can't they get it?
The mayor is, I think the mayor is saying, this is not the way we need to do this, and we need to reach another agreement. And because she wasn't involved, in her opinion, she wasn't involved. Gilbert Montano was involved, and other city officials were involved, but for some reason, she decided that that wasn't a deal that she made. But you're right to point out the budget, including the money,
because that's what they said in the meeting,
right?
So if you didn't agree to it, I'm thinking that if I didn't agree to this and it's a line item on it, then I'm sending it back to whomever to before I sign off on it, because then my signature implies that everything that's on here is I'm in agreement with. And I just don't understand, why is it that the children are left holding the bag, so to speak, for money that is owed to them? That's all I'm saying. Like, I want there to be a clear explanation as to, it's their money, figure out how to reconfigure some stuff and give it to them. That, in my opinion, is what should be happening. And now we're months and months and months away from this first taking off, and we still don't have a resolution as to where's the kids' money. I don't know what you say, Bruce. Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. Wyatt. Good morning, Will.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Pleasure. The mayor appoints department heads. She knew about the budget. It all goes back to the department heads and to the mayor. Dr. Wyatt, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think she may have her feelings hurt because she wasn't involved directly. But they made the budget. She looked at the budget. She approved the budget. And that's the bottom line. Is that correct?
Right. And that's what I'm asking. Like, so how do we get to a linear outcome that requires the city, whomever it might be, Gilbert Montano, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, City Council, somebody, to give this money to the babies? That's my question. How do we get there?
The mayor has the way to release the money. Gilbert Montano works for the mayor. Maybe if she stayed at home a little bit and did that, we could look no further than Washington, D.C., of what the politicians did with our Social Security money when they dipped their hands into that. And by 2033, they're going to deplete it if they don't watch themselves. You all have a great day, and thank you for taking
Bruce.
my call.
Appreciate you. That's all I'm asking, Will. Maybe is that a question you could ask? And you'll
absolutely.
Because we just need a direct answer. And I also want to layer it by saying, what's the timeline on that? Like, when can the kids expect to see the money? Because it is my understanding that multiple schools have had to cut programming, cut personnel, because they don't have access to the money that they have budgeted for, because this is a part of their budgets as well, because they know the money is supposed to be allocated. So they're making plans for this pot of money that they're supposed to have access to, and now they don't.
So you've been a principal.
I have.
Okay. So I've not been a K through 12 educator. Certainly haven't been a principal or education administrator. But in my other roles, other jobs, I've been responsible for budgets and planning and that kind of thing. But how much ahead do you have to plan for the next school year? You can't wait until the summer.
No.
To say now, what should we do?
Because you're too late by then. Yeah, you're too late by then, because you have to think about even personnel. You don't make personnel decisions in the summer. You're making personnel decisions before the school year ends. The prior year, you're sending out letters and making certain that you can secure your staff. Because if somebody says that, I don't think I'm coming back, Dr. Wyatt, then it's your job to then start to try to fill that vacancy. What you do not want as a principal is to have empty classrooms in terms of personnel, and you got 30 babies looking like, where my teacher, right? You do not, and a lot of schools do that. Start school without having a person in every position. Personnel is essential to the budget. And so if I'm making...
And personnel costs money.
Personnel costs money. It's the heaviest part of you know, the lifting financially for a school. And so if you don't have the money to show up personnel and programming, then how are you going to do school? Personnel and programming, that's essential. Like, if personnel programming, curriculum, like all of that, everything, it costs money to do. And to not have access to funding, to me, puts leaders in a very precarious situation. You know, we have to go to break. The conversations always get good close to the break. I guess that's a thing. But we're going to keep talking about it. I hope you keep listening. Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is another hot and stormy one across southeast Louisiana. Highs will reach 92 to 95 degrees, but with the humidity, it'll feel more like the triple digits. We've got about a 40% chance for scattered storms, mainly late morning through the evening. Not everyone will see the rain, but those who do could get a quick downpour or some lightning. We'll stay in the 90s through the weekend with daily storm chances continuing. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Have you ever imagined yourself on the sidelines of the big game, representing athletes in negotiations, working in sports medicine? We're calling all high school students interested in a future career in sports. The Starting Block, a program created by the family of my dear friend, the late chef Leah Chase, and by yours truly, Arnie Filko, is accepting applications now for our third cohort, which begins this fall. Participants in this prestigious program learn from the experts in sports administration, marketing, broadcast journalism, and more. Run in partnership with Tulane's Center for Sport, the Starting Block incorporates real-life experiences shadowing local sports teams alongside classroom instruction led by the best in the field. If you're a rising freshman, sophomore, or junior across the metro New Orleans area interested in a future career in sports, please visit thestartingblocknola.com. Thestartingblocknola.com now to learn more and to apply for our 18-month free program.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my super producer, my teaching super producer, because we have an intern in the studio with us as well, the Nyron Sanders, and my co-host Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Good morning.
And speaking of children, because we were talking about the kids before the break, talking about, how we can come to some sort of compromise to ensure that the children have access to the funding to keep their personnel and their programming and their curriculum happening in their schools. We want to talk about places you can go to ensure that your children are eating over the summer. In addition to Chicken's Kitchen, which is located in Gretna, shout out to the owner of Chicken's Kitchen. He's feeding kids all summer long. There's no purchase necessary for adults. You just can bring your babies and eat, and they actually can eat for free at Chicken's Kitchen out in Gretna for free. But there's some other restaurants who are offering free meals to kids. Ruby Tuesday offers free kids meals every Tuesday after 5 p.m. and all day Friday with the purchase of a full price adult entree. This offer is available for dining only and applies to kids 12 and under, excluding locations in Hawaii and Guam, where we're not in Hawaii or Guam. So you qualify to eat free on Tuesdays after 5 p.m. at Ruby Tuesday. Chili's is offering kids meal coupons for members of their My Chili Rewards, which is free to join. Members receive emails or texts with coupons redeemable at the restaurant or online, offering one free kids meal per adult entree. IHOP is also offering free kids meals every day from 4 to 10 p.m. with the purchase of an adult entree available for dining only. And this place that I've never heard of that Will clearly knew about, Red Robin, which is in the Slidell area. I don't know if there's a local one, but every Wednesday where kids meals are 50% off, including an entree, a side, and a drink. Dine-in customers also enjoy bottomless sides and refills. The offer is available online with the promo code KIDSMEAL50. And in a surprising twist, IKEA, known for its furniture, is serving free kids meals Monday through Friday from now through August.
The furniture place?
No purchase necessary. Customers simply need to show their IKEA family membership, which is also free to sign up for. So if you are looking for places to feed your children over the summer, you can take a look at IKEA. All you have to do is sign up for their free family membership, and your children can eat free Monday through Friday from now until August 5th. There is no purchase necessary, so you don't have to buy anything for your kids to eat free. But at Red Robin, there's a 50% off, including an entree, side, and a drink for dining customers only. You have to have the Kids Meal 50 promo code that you can put into the app. IHOP is another one from 4 to 10 p.m. It's available for dining only, and it is free with the purchase of an adult entree. And then My Chili Rewards, which is free to join. You can get one free kids meal per entree, adult entree. And Ruby Tuesdays is feeding kids every Tuesday after 5 p.m. and all day on Friday with the purchase of a full price adult entree. And as I stated, Chicken's Kitchen, which is located right in Gretna, they're feeding kids, no purchase necessary, no questions asked. Just bring your babies and feed them all summer long. So shout out to all of those organizations and community folk who are putting up so that we can make certain that our kids do not go hungry over the summer. So I think that's a wonderful thing. I think that is how you build community. I think that is how you look out for community. And I want to say this too for Chicken's Kitchen. If you want to donate to that cause, because he is a local business owner, and he's doing all of this out of his own funding. So if you want to be able to help him continue the initiative all throughout the summer, please make certain that you go over to the restaurant Chicken's Kitchen. It's located right there in Gretna. And just bring what you can. I saw a friend of mine, she dropped off 100 Hugs juices, Capri Sun juices. I think it was Capri Sun juices. She went to one of those big warehouse retailers. I don't know if it's Costco, Sam's, one of them big places, because she had a pallet of Capri Suns that she donated over at Chicken's Kitchen. So shout out to the owner of Chicken's Kitchen. I definitely love and appreciate what you're doing. I actually shared him to my social media page to amplify what he's doing. And I also went over to the Jones Academy for Girls yesterday.
Did you see the beautiful babies?
I did. I got to see the beautiful babies. I got to meet Andrea Jones, who is the owner-operator of the Jones Academy for Girls. We had a very good conversation. I donated the water like I said that I would. And then, the day that Dr. Thornton was here. I actually made a financial contribution. So I was able to go there in the St. Peter Claver building.
Oh, okay.
Right next to the Roots of Music. So I did go over there as I promised. And those babies are so squishy. Oh, my God. Like squishy, squishy, squishy. You just want to take them home. But only if you can bring them back, because I'm out of that stage. I babysit 1,000 babies, as long as I can bring y'all kids back to y'all.
Yeah.
I love the children. I have a 4-year-old godson who I love immensely, and he's very much spoiled rotten. So I took him to Taco Tuesday. Now he think every Tuesday we supposed to go for tacos, and he wants to do a different place every Tuesday. And he's 4, so he he likes to eat like his godparent. I'm here for you, Jewels. Y'all say hey to my baby Jewels in the chat. Good morning, James. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, Jewels. I won't go with y'all on. I won't go with y'all on Taco Tuesday. I won't go somewhere new too. Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
You're gonna be the tag along, huh?
Every Tuesday. Yes.
I'm you and Jewel plus one or 2. However many you
Well, you gonna be the second plus one because Cam is also there. My son is home for the summer, and we love going to Taco Tuesday together.
You bring it. I don't care. Just throw me in the bin. Look, I ain't gonna stay too long. You said something and it hit me. It's like, is this the form of trickle down economics that this government of ours is planning for us? And I only thought about that when you mentioned IKEA.
Yeah.
Yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was listening, late into the evening, and somebody mentioned that Target has sponsored had dropped off some money to some of these pastors.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about it, James, because I posted about it on my social media. $300,000 to be exact, $75,000 per pastor.
Yeah. So, and I think a caller said that it roughly turns out to be something like $20 or $40 a church.
No, it's not. It's $9.06.
Yeah,
they selling themselves for cheap.
for some wooden nickels, huh? But my point is, I wonder if this is not Chicken's Kitchen. I'm talking about the big organization.
Yes.
I wonder if this is the form of trickle down economics that this government has been talking about. That's all I want to put on your mind.
And you put it on my mind, and now I'm about to talk about it, James. I appreciate you. I hope you keep listening.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, I posted about that. See, there's some conversations that I'm having on air, and then there's some stuff I'm saying on my social media.
Yeah.
So, you can follow me if you want to, because I can talk like I want on my social media, but I still mind my manners. I haven't been live on my social media in a long time, but I certain conversations I elevate by going live, and I think Jamal Bryant put it best. He said. That because of the boycott of Target, that Target had come to him and was trying to offer him, something to kind of like quell the Black community to get their support back. Target has even gone so far as to put Black folk in their commercials now. I'm starting to see more and more Black folk in their commercial, and they're getting these influencers and social media folk to, to talk about their business and things of that nature, trying to get us back in their stores, right? And Jamal Bryant aired out his counterparts from the pulpit. And he was saying, my favorite line that he said, Pastor, if you needed $75,000, I could have wrote you a check. Tell me you got it without telling me you got it. Listen, because I think very often, and and James, you're going to like this linear thought I'm having. I see you, baby. You're going to like this linear thought I'm having, James, because I think about the insertion of the clergy in our elections here in the city of New Orleans. And my young baby is waving at me, so we got to go to break. But y'all know where I'm going with that.
All right.
I'm thinking about the insertion of the clergy here as it relates to the elections we have here, and how folk are masquerading and parading through our churches, asking us for our votes. And where's the church standing, ensuring that who you bring in front of your congregation is what's best for this community. That's a conversation we about to have.
All right, let's talk about it.
We're going to keep talking. I hope you keep listening. Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
All day long, y'all.
WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with New Orleans Public Schools and the Cowell Institute, are excited to announce the launch of a new digital tool on the data dashboard. New Orleans Public Schools, 20 years later, a timeline of recovery, transformation, and growth. The tool provides data, information, and context on the past 20 years of K-12 education in New Orleans, the changes that occurred, and the outcomes these changes helped produce. Visit NOLApublicschools.com/K20 to view the tool and learn more.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver has pleaded not guilty to federal charges of assaulting ICE agents during a protest-filled visit to a Newark detention center.
But we look forward to the next time in court. We're going to take this all the way through. They know they're wrong, and we're going to prove them wrong because the facts are on our side.
She says the charges are political and vows to fight them. Her trial is set for November 10th. Taylor Toronto, convicted of threatening a government site and illegal gun possession near the Obama's D.C. home, is seeking a new trial. His lawyers argue D.C.'s gun laws are unconstitutional under recent Supreme Court rulings. Sentencing is set for August 26th. And closing arguments begin today in Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors dropped some charges but are pressing ahead with racketeering and trafficking claims. Combs, who didn't testify, has pleaded not guilty and faces up to life in prison if convicted. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders, and my co-host, Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Good morning.
We're going to jump straight to the phone lines because I have a lot to say, but so does the listening audience. Good morning, Aaron. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. Good morning. Is he up? Call me back, Aaron. I don't know how I lost you, but call me back because I absolutely want to hear what you have to say. But before the break, Will, we were talking about following James's train of thought in talking about where does the clergy stand as it relates to the leadership in the Black community and what we're doing to ensure that the decisions we're making aligns with what is best for the community as a whole. Because if the conversation is about rolling back your humanity and folks have put forth a plan to ensure that your Black dollar has some respect on it, it's $300,000 over a multitude of churches, enough money for you to sell your people out. Mm-hmm. I mean, is there enough money for you to sell your people out? My answer would be no, but I mean, it's just me. Because clearly, people got a price. And why is it that we always settle for so little? Because certainly if they're willing to give you $300,000, they'll give you $900,000.
You know what it feels like?
They'll give you a couple mil. If they think it's important enough, like you can keep pushing the line for what you want. But I still feel like, Will, even any check is temporary because what happens in terms of systemic change? Because isn't that what you're really after?
Right.
So you say you know what this is like.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, okay, so I'm struggling this month and I haven't paid this bill, and this bill. So I'm going to take anything to help me pay my bill. And it's like, but why are you going to do that as opposed to looking at the bigger picture and figuring out how you can sustain your household? And they're just accepting $300,000. And it doesn't appear that there's any long-term engagement and with us, they have agreed to do this, and we got another $300,000 coming next month and this month, and here's how we're going to take care of our people. A single $300,000
I thought the bare
payment.
minimum was $40. Will you telling me it's $9.10? How much?
$9.06 is what I saw. I mean I
thought the bare minimum was $40, and you had to put it on the dresser. Did that change, Will? Good morning, Aaron. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Good morning.
I just want to make sure. Good morning. Shouts out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, Louisiana.
All right.
You dig? Brother James, I really want to take and meet you, brother, because it's some work that I really want to collaborate with you on, and you have the mindset for it. With that being said, with these some of these pastors, I ain't gonna say all of them because they do got some good ones out there, but the issue I have with some of these pastors here in the city, I ain't even the ones who took that money. They look, it's obvious who they are and who they represent. But the ones that's here, the issue I have with them is as soon as Kirkpatrick went out there and got on the news and said she didn't know this, she didn't know that. Look how some of them black pastors came behind her and said, "Hands off my chief, don't mess with my chief," right? But then at the same time, when Susan Hudson went through her cataclysm, ain't none of them bourgeoisie niggas stood up and stood behind her. Even if you don't support the sister, that's a black woman at the end of the day. And y'all know, just like we know, that there is a certain attack upon that sister just because, number one, she's an outsider and she's not a part of the good old boy or the good old girl clique. The same way how they stood up for her, Kirkpatrick, was the same energy they were supposed to have to step up and support that sister. Because as we know, this ain't the first jailbreak that they done had underneath the sheriff. They had one under the former sheriff and the one before him too. And they also had one in Slidell? But none of that was highlighted the way how it was highlighted because of who Susan is. So that's the issue I have. Because, look, everybody who knows me, I'm for the black woman, period. I'm for my black people, period. Ain't no compromise in my integrity for me to get ahead in life. If you have to jeopardize your integrity for you to get ahead in life, I'm gonna be good because I don't want to mess up the FCC.
I appreciate you, brother.
I'm gonna just stop right there, man. I love y'all, man.
Love you more. Thank you so much. Listen, y'all cutting up in the chat, and I'm up in the chat with you because I'm about to bring some of these comments to the conversation. Because one of the listeners said the preacher should be called out, but not by Roland Martin, because he took the pro-charter money to validate and support and approve the chartering of New Orleans public schools. I remember that. Listen, that's why I like y'all so much, because y'all don't be playing up in the chat. Y'all say, look, yeah, the pastors need to be called out. Because let me tell you, I got a story to tell. See, when I really tell my full story, y'all gonna buy the book, okay? Because I got a story to tell. But let me tell you something. I don't even know how to even engage with a pastor right about now, because it's too much. Y'all really be cutting up. When I was running for office, I visited many churches. And this one particular church I visited, and he was on that mic talking about how good I was for kids and I was the best option for kids, baby. But guess what he was on election night? Wearing a Kara Orange Jones shirt because he took that money. Y'all better stop playing. That's why y'all so uncomfortable when I see y'all, because y'all know I know the truth about you. But long as you stop telling lies about me, I ain't going to tell no truth about you. So when you speak my name, you best understand that I'm going to come and I'm going to correct the record every time. I might not have come yet for you, but I'm coming. Please understand it. And I ain't got to do it on WBOK airwaves. I could command the same audience on my own platform. And when I tap you, I'm going to put belt to...
Behind?
Yes. I'm going to put belt to behind. I surely will. And I'm going to let you know something. Because, see, y'all like playing in the faces of people who y'all think ain't going to play back. You think you funny, and I know I'm hilarious. So we going to all just be laughing. we going to have a good old time laughing. Because I know all of y'all by name. And there's a whole bunch of people who sat in the courthouse with me, who supported me, right? Who understand the names of the same people. Because see, what y'all thought was when y'all wrote them letters on behalf of that crook, y'all thought only the judge was going to read them. But the judge said, you know what I think should happen? We ought to read this in open court. And he read every name and every letter in open court, so I know who you are. And that's why when I see y'all at these community meetings and y'all in my face showing, not 32, because y'all don't got all y'all teeth. But when y'all up in my face showing your teeth, please understand that I play the part that you think I'm supposed to play. The same part South Hall thought I played, young and naive. And I don't know no better. No, I know better. But there's a brilliant black man that told me that men like their ego is stroked. So I just be stroking your ego, letting you think that you smarter. and that you more in tune, that I'm just out of the loop. Because y'all like it like that. Y'all like to think that. So I let you think it. But when I take that belt off you, because I'm going to whip you with your own belt when I get ready to tell you about yourself. I'm going to tell you about yourself. Just know I'm coming. Please know it. So you better get your people together. Get your story together. Get your receipts together. Because when I start talking about it, I'm going to call you the name your mama gave you. So you can know when I take aim, I don't shoot no blanks and I don't miss. Okay? And I don't hit people that ain't need to be hit. I don't just aim, let's shoot. No. I take aim.
You got a good shot.
I know who my targets are.
You got a good shot?
Uh-huh. Yep. And I go to the range, too.
Practice.
I sure do. Uh-huh. That's why y'all got to be living right out here. Y'all can't be messing over people and thinking that people not going to come for retribution. Vengeance is God's, but I'm going to make certain I level it up for him. Uh-huh. I'm going to line you up for him. That's what I'm going to do. I just love me. In case y'all needed to know.
We love you back.
Cause y'all take me to play with, and I don't really like to feel played with. They got some really good people in the city of New Orleans who have been done so much harm by folk who look just like us, who pretend to be about the same things we're about, and they harming us. They speaking ill on our names in rooms that we not in. But I be want y'all to know. I just be want y'all to really, really know. God is so good, because everything that you mean for bad, I'm trying to tell you what he do for me. Y'all don't want to listen to me. That's why I can't go away. That's why you looking at me like, why she won't quit? I ain't built to quit. And God told me I got your back. Keep your eyes forward. That's what he told me, and that's what I do. Hey, T-Bone, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Doc.
How you doing?
I like you fire me. I always do, because when you come with that fire in the morning and I sip my coffee, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. How's it going?
It's going. Like, we really have to have good conversation and honest conversation. Because let me tell you something. All skin folk and kinfolk, and people act like we can't talk in terms of accountability for black people just because they black. No, we have to talk more about accountability for black folk because they black. Because you owe that to this community to do right by it. You know what I'm saying? The expectation is that you do right by us. So when you don't do right by us, I can call you by your name and hold you accountable, just like I want you to call me by mine and hold me accountable. That's what I want. I don't duck no smoke.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Let me add to that, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. Go ahead.
If you don't look at the big picture, see, y'all was just talking about the big picture. I'm about to drop this on you. The bigger picture here is this: the shadow government, and here's my conspiracy theory card right there on the table, right next to Gerard's. The shadow government that's working is working to whitewash everything. And the sad part is, the black folk that are in political office that can change things, they're so busy tripping over each other, they're leaving it open for them to do it.
Yep.
ITT included. Different people on the city council included. They are trying to put Helena Moreno in there as mayor. Now, if something happens on her watch and she wins mayor, I bet you Landry don't come down here and try to embarrass her like they did ITT. If they put a white sheriff in there for the jail, I bet you they don't come down here and embarrass her in front of the rest of the folks of the nation. If they put a white police chief, they are not going to embarrass their peoples. Look at what's happening. This is the game. This is the game that they've been playing for a long time, folks. Katrina gave them the opportunity to start whitewashing. Yet we keep on keeping on, vote for the wrong people, not exposing these people that are behind the scenes, and not finding the right leaders. Let's stop hooping and howling about stuff and do something.
I got you, T-Bone. I'm with you.
You can't build a house just talking about it. You got to go get them nails, get them materials, get your tools
Now let me tell you this, T-Bone. Now let me tell you this.
And build the damn house.
T-Bone, let me tell you this. I'm going to say something. I'm going to hang up with you because I want you to listen to what I'm about to say. Cause I'm gonna tell you how we built the house. We had it built, and I'm about to tell you how they took it apart. Keep listening. I'm about to tell you right now. I'm in a giving mood today. I'm about to give y'all some game. Let me tell you what happened to me when I ran for office. Right? So let's be very clear. And I hope the folks out the night wall listening, cause I'm about to take aim at you. Let me be very clear about something. You see, when I ran for that Bessie seat, Kara Orange Jones was the incumbent, right? There was nobody running against her. I had no intentions on running for office, zero, none, right? And we sitting there and we cannot just allow her to just walk in the seat. That we can't allow it. Like, so we got to go find somebody. We got to go find them to get in the seat. See Shawan Bernard, that's her name. I called her by name, right? I personally spoke to her. We called her and I asked her, look, y'all, you're interested in this seat? Because we need somebody in the seat, right? We cannot allow her to just walk in the seat. We need somebody to run against her. If you run, we gonna support you. We whatever you need, ground game, whatever, we gonna do that, right? And she said, and I quote, I have no interest in doing that because I just got my practice and I want to get it off the ground. I have no intentions on doing that. So, okay. Now it's like 3 days away from qualifying, like from the end of qualifying. I'm like, Lord have mercy, we gotta find somebody. And everybody in the room that I'm in start looking at me like, wait, what? I said, we got to find somebody. I don't want to do this, right? And then they looked at me like, Doc, but you gotta, like, you're the best option. Like, at this moment, we gotta do it, right? It was right in that moment that we put together a platform, in that very moment. It was in that moment that we decided that I'm going to go run for office, right? And I went and did what I needed to do to put my name in there. And then every day we check the Secretary of State's website to make certain ain't nobody else jumped in this race, right? It was the last day, Will. The last 30 minutes of qualifying, Will. When we refreshed the screen, Will Sutton, and her name appeared. And I said, what? Wait, what? Yeah, that's what happened.
No interest.
That's what happened. So we're not going to pretend like there's no culpability to go around here, right? We're not going to pretend like we talk about divide the vote. Didn't you just write an article about this? If the black vote means something, do it mean anything? We're going to divide the vote, whatever? What? Man, come on, man, because here's the thing. If you wanted to do that, then I didn't need to be on there. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could have supported you. Right. But you being on there with me on there ain't going to do nothing but give her the seat. Right. And that's what it did. And see, that's what I'm furious about, because then we like to throw a brick and hide our hand like we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have to stop pretending we don't know what happened. That's what happened. And see, I believe that was the steepest decline we made in terms of not getting the education for our kids that we needed. Because even though the conversations were elevated, because, you know, I was up there putting belt to butt, talking about how she don't live here. She don't know nothing going on in our school. She don't even know the names of our schools because she don't live here. Right. She flew in to go to her first endorsement meeting. She flew in. We saw her come straight from the airport. And I saw when she was leaving out because she was buying souvenirs to take back with her. And you know who her first endorsement was, Will Sutton? After I spanked her behind and I won 12 in a row, you know who her first one was?
Who was it?
Cedric Richmond. That was her first one. In the agenda. In the New Orleans agenda, that was the first one. After the New Orleans coalition meeting, I remember it like it was yesterday. After they voted 3-4 times trying not to give me the endorsement that I earned. See, I'm going to start calling them by their name. Y'all can play with them. I'm not. I could write a book, and I am. Y'all might find yourself in a chapter or two. Because I'm going to tell you about all these well-to-do black folk who like to pretend like they so about the right thing and doing what's best for black people, but they take the check just like the pastors did. They take the check. And sometimes it ain't even a check, Will, because they don't want no record of it. Yeah, and then they just start building a house that you ain't never knew they could afford because they took the check. Y'all make me sick. Y'all make me sick and ain't nothing y'all could do me. You could talk about me, keep doing it. Keep doing it. You could block me from jobs, keep doing it. You could keep me from speaking at the State of the People, keep doing it. Because you don't want me to share the same mic that you share, because if I open my mouth, ain't nobody going to be listening to you. That's why you're mad. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, and still I rise.
All right.
I got to go to break.
It's 8:20 a.m., folks. The talk line is 504.
Don't do
504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. If you got somewhere to be at 8:30, you got less than 10 minutes to get there.
We gonna get Will together around here because Will ain't gonna try to dim my light, baby. I was on the road. And he won't try to stop me. Let me tell you something.
It says break. It says break.
I got the big chair and the big mic, and I have big thoughts.
It says break.
I gotta go to break. But when we come back, we're gonna talk about the state and national government that's out of control. We just spanked the local government enough, don't you think?
Yep.
They took the check. Let's see who else taking the check.
All right.
Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, when New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Hoops, Heat, The Truth, on demand. Ball Don't Lie is now live on all podcast platforms. Tap in, search WBOK Media, find Ball Don't Lie, and bring the fire with you wherever you go. Download, share, and leave that 5-star review because the game doesn't stop when the show ends.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. Happening tonight, 3 of the 6 candidates running for mayor of New Orleans will participate in a public forum, giving residents a chance to hear directly from them for the first time. Helena Moreno and Oliver Thomas will be there, as well as Arthur Hunter. That forum is tonight at 6:30 p.m. at 4930 Washington Avenue. Again, it is open to the public. Then this morning at City Hall, council members will discuss putting the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office on the BRASS system, which tracks finances and is already used by most agencies in the city. The possible change stems from the escape of 10 inmates from the jail, followed by Sheriff Susan Hudson saying OPSO needs more money to properly secure the facility. The council will also discuss that controversial decision by Mayor LaToya Cantrell to end an emergency trash contract with Ivy Waste, replacing them with Henry Consulting, who is set to take over in August. Today's meeting starts at 10 a.m. inside council chambers. And the Archdiocese of New Orleans will be back in court today for its bankruptcy case. We're told a judge will hear motions to dismiss the case, unseal records, and conduct evidence or discovery hearings. That judge hopes to wrap this case up by the end of the year. The bankruptcy case stems from more than 500 lawsuits filed against the Archdiocese alleging clergy sexual abuse. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
In a nation once proud of its democratic ideas, we now find ourselves staring down a very disturbing image, one that looks less like a thriving republic and more like a scene from a Cold War dictatorship. On the president's birthday, no less, Lord have mercy, military troops and armored vehicles were deployed on the streets of the nation's capital. In Los Angeles, similar scenes played out, with armed soldiers in battle gear patrolling a small neighborhood once protected by local law enforcement. The justification? Undefined threats, unspecified dangers, and an obvious growing tendency from the Trump White House to conflate dissent with disloyalty. Let's be clear. When a sitting American president rolls military tanks down Pennsylvania Avenue for optics, not necessity, that's not strength, it's spectacle and weakness. America is a nation founded on the right to speak, to protest, and to assemble freely, rights that are protected under the Constitution. The imagery of soldiers in any city, absent a natural disaster or declared war, sends a different message, one of intimidation, not protection. This is how democracies are eroded, not with a coup or constitutional collapse, but with slow, seemingly justifiable steps, numbing us to the military presence in civic life, a demonization of the free press, political opposition, and stoking fear over facts. Moreover, Fear is being used as a political weapon under the guise of patriotism. We're being encouraged to fear immigrants, fear our neighbors, fear the ballot box, and fear each other. The foundation of freedom is not fear, but courage. With that said, we must decide what kind of America we want. One with our children growing up saluting tanks and demagogues? One with our children growing up respecting the Constitution? Democracy demands vigilance. It demands that we speak up when the lines between security and suppression begins to blur. Power belongs to the people, not the palace, and certainly not a damn parade. This is Norman Robinson off the top.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta White. I would shout out my super producer, but he's not behind the glass. We have our interns.
We're going to shout him out anyway. Now, run.
And my co-host this morning, Will Sutton.
Good
Will.
morning. Good morning.
Listen, while we were on the break, we were talking about these $9 Negroes, and my my GM was like, Doc, why you calling them people that? Because the pastor said they took the money. And my co-host said when you divide the money up, didn't that what you said, Will? You said Roland Martin put a graphic up, and he divided up the money, and they got $9 and what, 10 cents?
6 cents, yeah.
6 cents?
Yeah.
$9 and
Not
6
even 10.
cents per church. They not even listening to Katie Ray.
Does
you know
anybody?
You know Katie Ray, Will?
I know who.
Katie Ray is a rapper here in New Orleans,
Yeah.
and Katie Ray said put her money on the dresser, and the minimum was $40. That's always been the bare minimum when you put the money on the dresser. But they sold out for $9.06. My goodness. Good morning, Pastor Man, and welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Well, good morning, Dr. Wyatt.
How you doing?
And Brother Will. How y'all doing today?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. Good to hear your voice. Brother Sutton, I met your beautiful wife the other day at the Black Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Watched the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great movie, isn't it? The documentary.
Oh, man. Incredible. On Juneteenth.
Yep. So what's on your mind today?
Well, listen, as y'all know, I'm jumping in this race to run against to run it for City Council at Large Division 2. The incumbent is J.P. Morrell, and I always say, look, I'm not running against him. I'm running for the city of New Orleans and people that are hurting right now. I am not taking $9.06 from anybody. I am standing up, making sure that right now is the time we need to do what God demands of us as preachers, and that is Micah 3:5, to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. And for preachers who are going around right now, I know it's the thing that preachers do. They go around from church to church, but what about the small churches? Forget about going to the big churches for once and come around to the small churches where there are people that need to hear their voice. If it's not about the money, not about getting fame or all of that, come to the small churches and talk to the people that don't normally get to hear from all of those candidates. And finally, look, now is the time right now that we've got to learn how to take care of people. People are going to be losing their Medicaid. They're going to be losing their SNAPS benefits. And we've got to do what we've always done is as black folks, is learn how to plant some gardens, learn how to make some clothes, learn how to just cook some meals and dinners and suppers, and get people taken care of in this time that's only going to get worse. And if you don't have a candidate talking about that, how to care for the most marginalized people, the people that are normally forgotten, our elderly and our children, then they don't need to assume any seat in public office.
Pastor.
So,
Thank you for your call. I appreciate you, and congratulations on your candidacy as well.
you're so welcome. God bless y'all.
Have a blessed one.
Have a great
Good morning,
day.
Larry. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hi, Dr. Wise. How you doing, Doc?
How you doing, Larry?
Oh, I'm just great.
I haven't heard your voice in a minute. What's going on? You all right?
Hey, Dr. Wise?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have much to say because you say it all. Say it all. Look, I've been around a little while. You know that, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Listen to so many people discuss so many subjects about black people on the radio that it's redundant, repetitious to me.
Mm-hmm.
You bring a different light to it because you don't care.
Well, it's because I care, Larry.
Yeah. And look, Kermit the Frog said, it ain't easy being green.
Right.
It ain't. So, it's going to get messy. These things come up, but you have to say what you say. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Dr. Wise. I don't know too many radio personalities are talking like you do. Locally or nationally. Man, because I've been around and heard it all. I come from the 60s where H. Rap Brown and Stokely Carmichael was spitting. And like the rappers say about you, you definitely spitting.
Well, thank you.
Telling the truth. Man, look, what you're doing, I know it's going to seem like a monstrosity against you, a lot of stuff against you, but keep on. Because you know why? If you believe in astronomy, astrology, they say we're in the age of Aquarius, which means you fit right in on the good side. And besides that, I think you've been anointed to do that because you can't help yourself. You're a little
I cannot help myself, Larry. I really can't. I really
I know
cannot.
you can't because I look, I had a mother. I think I really, really like you because at first, we bumped heads, but that's how I did with my mother. But you kind of remind me of my mother because she was that way. In 1960, she represented the AFL-CIO. 1960, how many years? That's 60 years ago. And at that time, that union had nothing but white people. But she worked for a place that had a few black people. She told them white people what she thought. You know what the white folks did? They put her in charge and flew her to St. Louis to speak for them because she was telling the truth.
Yeah.
So what you doing, see, the truth don't lie, man. It comes up. It's going to get messy now, Dr. Wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting messy now. But see, when you exposing people, they can't do nothing but bow their heads. I'm glad you mentioned Cedric Richmond because sometimes, some of these people, we be, hey, yeah, but man, when you go at them and stick them with a fork, they bust right open.
And I'm not telling any lies, Larry. That's
No,
exactly
you're not,
what happened.
baby. Hey,
That's exactly what happened, and that's why I can name it because it happened.
Girl,
Yes.
you ain't lying. No.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't lying. So you keep it up.
Thank you so much, Larry. I appreciate you.
And it's gonna get messy, but you'll be all right.
I got it, and I know you got me too, huh, Larry?
Yeah, I got your back, girl.
Thank you, my love.
I got your back.
Have a blessed one.
I'll talk to you later.
All righty. Ken, welcome to the Good Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Wyatt. Good morning, D. Wolfstock.
Good morning.
The article that you wrote, I didn't get a real chance to read it, but, I've been watching these statistics since 2000, right around 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, at the rate we're voting, 30% in most elections, 9% in the last set of ballot amendments, 9% of all registered voters. The vote is your ultimate expression of your voice and your will. If you don't vote, it's still a vote because you let other people speak to you and for you, as you said, speak for you, is what you said on your statement, which is quite correct. A lot of people are voting right now why we have the problems that we have on the local, state, and federal levels. A lot of people are based upon emotion, where it won't make a difference, or I think this, I think that. We are not repping. We're not registering. We're not educating, and we're not participating by pulling the lever. Until that changes, things will not change. Now, I told folk 2 years ago, they gonna take your stuff. They taking your stuff. They can't take my stuff, because like Dr. Wyatt, you know, what can you do with me? You know, I'm my own thing. I'm good for that. I put in all the work to be able to do what I'm doing. Bottom line is, for people that it does matter a lot more for, people who are out here scuffling, scratching, trying to make something happen, they have to engage. I'm glad the gentleman is going to run against Mr. Morrell, because that needs to happen. We have a hostile takeover going on in the country, but more at the local level. And there is a plan in place, because now what I see, some people believe if certain candidates were to win, I ain't calling names, Dr. White. I don't need to call names right now. I mean, I think it's pretty plain. Certain people win, certain things are going to happen. As we spoke about, Will, when I was there last, the Civic Services Coalition report, that's your blueprint. That's what's going to happen. And if there was supposed to be ballot initiatives in July, they were going to start going for ballot initiatives. For some reason, they haven't. I think it's because they believe their candidate of choice will likely win, and then they'll just do it, but do it unofficially. I would tell you this. People are so tied to self, again, and emotion, they're not educating themselves on it. And I will quote alphabet soup, which Ray Nagin said we didn't need, we need. The coup, the life, the bowl, the soul, or some new iterations of all of those things, because people like Mr. Hubbard from Soul are getting older. Now, they have influence still, but they're not fighting wars anymore. Where are the 50-somethings and the 40-somethings that were those guys when all of this got started? We don't have that, but thank God we have yourself, Will, and we also have Dr. Wyatt, and we have BOK to be a voice in the community who's trying to at least give us some input to understand what is in front of us. Because for those of us who are asleep, and there are many, it is not going to be a good day very shortly. And Norman's comment during the break was spot on.
Yeah.
And I have one last one. Let me close on this one. The president of China just said something very interesting.
We shared it on the air.
You did.
Yep.
And it's factually true, which is because it comes from history. He said the world can move on without the United States. Yes, they can. He also named the three major nations in the past 400 years that have had their day in the sun. And what he didn't say, and this is something that if you pay attention, the leading nation in any world power lasts right around 300 years at tops. That don't give us a whole lot more time to be at the rate we're running, and the level of vitriol and anger and name calling and flat out just ignorance and stupidity that we're dealing with. That's gonna sink us. We're not like the Spanish where the Armada went down, or the French because you took too many losses in wars that you shouldn't have been in. We're going to kill ourselves. And that is truly tragic.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you.
But thank you for the voice.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Rev. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning to all. The gentleman that just spoke made a lot of valid points. The game has always been to divide and conquer. Once we get folks saying to us that we don't need to do this or be that or have that, that's when we start looking to see what we can get for ourselves. When I look at what you were saying about this preacher, pastor thing, where these monies are coming from, who's putting these money up to keep the divide going, I think it's always interesting to do that deeper dive just to see who's really making a decision or strategies to keep us apart. I don't know when or how all of these stuff, because honestly, this morning is my first time hearing about the $75,000 from Target.
No, it was $300,000. But Jamal Bryant did a sermon from the pulpit, explaining how the deal went. He said Target came to him as well, and he turned it down. But Target went to several other pastors, and they accepted the $300,000 split amongst them. Yes.
But how many are actually, as my friend would say, selling out for $5 in a pork chop?
Or $9.06.
Okay. I think that once we come to an understanding how important, because what they have, in my opinion, desensitized our people to is that voting does not mean anything. There's no power, there's no control in voting. In electing someone. But if you notice, you have the same little power brokers that sits over and make decisions for everybody. And yes, do we need more bold and soul? Do we need the wisdom of the people like Sherman Copeland and so many that's out there that can actually sit back and understand what game is being ran on us? So to me, it would be interesting to have a meeting with those elders and listen at what they have to say, because they're not going to tell you no foolishness. They're going to tell you straight up, because there ain't nothing left in the game but who's going to benefit from the game. And the benefit ain't for all of us.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, they know who to go to and ask and talk to about how to get this done and who you need to talk to. But the reality of it is we are in a regression. We're not moving forward. We're going backwards. We are looking at a time, in my opinion, worse than 1940. The only thing now is they got a different tree they're hanging from. So y'all have a good morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Rev. Appreciate you. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something that not many people know. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm just in a giving mood.
All right.
I got 2 minutes to tell you what happened. So if y'all remember, there was a Racial Day of Healing event. MSNBC put it on. It happened at Studio B.
Yeah.
And it was Joy Reid was on the panel. Mitch Landrieu. Akil, what's her name from over at Asali Classy. She was on the panel, and I was in the room. There's multiple people on the panel. The young lady Hannah from the 1619 project. She was on the panel. The moment they went to break, I walked directly to former Mayor Mitch Landrieu, and I tapped him on the shoulder, y'all, and I said these words, and I hope he's listening so he could confirm or deny, so he choose. And I said, how you doing, sir? I want to put a name to the face of the person whose life you helped destroy. That's what I told him. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, young lady, I am so sorry. I had no idea what Southall was up to, because if I had, he wouldn't have been able to get any help from me. That's what he told me. Now, you could confirm or deny that conversation, or you won't, but it happened. It happened, and I did it. I walked right up to him. So y'all got to understand when I tell you, I don't care about whoever you are, whatever name you carry. If there's a bone to be picked, I'm going to pick it. Because people need to be accountable for the things that they do to people and the collateral damage that they cause. Nobody cared that I was raising a son when they did this to me. And I'm telling y'all, I'm coming for answers for everybody. I'm telling you, I'm back and I'm better, because I ain't even mad no more. I'm just ready to set the record straight. Yeah, I'm telling y'all gonna have to buy the book, because I got a lot of things to say and a lot of people to talk about. But that's what happened, Will. I walked up to him and I said those words to him. because nobody really knows what I went through but me. Nobody knows. Nobody knows the key players as well as I know them. That's why you gotta come correct when you come, because that happened. And I took the opportunity because I just could not sit there and hear the words. How we gonna heal? We talk about healing, and you caused all this damage to me, and there was no atonement for it. So I went right on up to him. I gotta take a break, but when we come back, we gonna tell y'all what's happening on the state and national level as it relates to government right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is another hot and stormy one across southeast Louisiana. Highs will reach 92 to 95 degrees, but with the humidity, it'll feel more like the triple digits. We've got about a 40% chance for scattered storms, mainly late morning through the evening. Not everyone will see the rain, but those who do could get a quick downpour or some lightning. We'll stay in the 90s through the weekend with daily storm chances continuing. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of the Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter: politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Get ready, New Orleans. Join us for the inaugural Blessed 26 Golf Classic, July 5th at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course, 6514 Congress Drive. It's a four-man scramble format with a 9 a.m. shotgun start. Enjoy great food, music, and a chance to win a brand new car. Register now at blessed26.ticketprice.com. Save the date, Saturday, July 5th for the Blessed 26 Golf Classic at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course. For more information, please call 504-284-9985. See ya on the green.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you're just joining us, you missed the spirited conversation. But one of the parts of the conversation, we were talking about this sellout of the clergy as it relates to the boycott of Target and what Pastor Jamal Bryant had to say about it. And he had some things to say. Y'all want to take a listen? He had some things to say.
Thought you was gonna go around me and go to the National Baptist Convention and be sold out for $300,000? Are you crazy to think that we gonna sell out for chump change? You must not know who we are. Our Father is rich in houses and land. In 1961, the National Baptist Convention was meeting, and they did not want to support a young preacher from Georgia named Martin Luther King. They said, you speaking too loud about civil rights. We don't want you to do all of that. Just preach and sit down. Don't march. Don't make a stand. Don't challenge the government. And as a consequence, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Gardner Taylor walked out of that church and started the Progressive Baptist Convention, where we come in full circle. And I need you to know it wasn't just the National Baptist of America. It was also the National Baptist of USA. It was also the Missionary Baptist. It was also the Church of God in Christ. And the $300,000 was not per institution. They gave them Negroes $75,000 for them to just sit down and roll over. Not me, Jack. I called the president of the National Baptist Convention. I said, Rev, we can't go out like that. We are selling ourselves short. He said, Jamal, give me a couple of days. Let me get the board together. I said, bro, you can get your board together, but Sunday morning I'm going to the mic and I got to say something. And you got to give me something to work with. He said, Pastor Bryant, give me a couple of days and I will do it. I said, you got 1 week to send me in writing that the Baptist Convention stands with the boycott, stands with the oppressed, stands with the marginalized, stands with the nameless and faceless people who are on the front line. $75,000 Baptist Convention, I'll write you a check.
Hey, Bella. Yeah, we have an intern in the studio. What you thought about that, Bella? What did you think? Do you think that there's enough money that anybody can offer you to sell out your community? That's the question.
No.
No. How old are you, Bella?
16.
16. The child is 16. So what's your name?
Kyla.
Kyla what? Mm-hmm. Oh, Miss Bella. Last name is Bella. Kyla Bella. What school you go to?
Sophie B. Wright.
Sophie B. Wright.
All right.
The young lady said no, and she's 16 years old. What's up with these pastors, Will?
Yep.
And see, Justin, even Pastor Jamal Bryant called them Negroes. That's not a bad word. He called them high. He gave them high value. We call him a $9 Negro because Will said when they split it up, all they got was $9.06. Jamal said, Pastor, if you needed a check, I'd have wrote you one, huh? We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. What you think, Miss Bella? We got to do better, huh?
Yeah.
Just selling our people short like this. And let me tell you what else is going on since we talking about the part of it that stood out to me was he was saying how the church was telling Martin Luther King he was too black, he was too loud. You know, that's what they're saying. The Democratic Party is saying about Jasmine Crockett. Mm-hmm. So she's now no longer in contention for the House Oversight Committee. Mm-hmm. She's no longer vying to chair that committee. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a symptom of a larger problem about us in our community. Because you know how often they tell me that, Will? You can say it, but why you got to say it like that? Yeah. I mean, you're right, but why you got to do it that way? You know what I mean? Like, I just want to know how comfortable that foot feel, because they keep pressing it deeper and deeper. Well, how far? Mm-hmm. What we gonna go knee? We gonna go knee deep before we feel like this is enough is too much? I don't know, Will. What you think?
Yeah, the National Baptist Convention thing is just
I wonder what they're gonna say.
Wacko. I mean, so I didn't hear him say, and I got a letter apologizing. I didn't hear him say, I got a letter saying we made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say that we got a letter and we got more money.
No, I think that stems from them not giving him the response, because he said he going to the pulpit if you don't give me what to say. Yep. So now I have to tell the people what's really going on.
That's right.
And then you gave him a week. That was a lot of time.
It was a lot of time. He went from 2 days to a week.
Why do you have to take a week to decide if you're going to sell your people short? That's insane to me. And talking about the insanity and the hypocrisy of some things, because I think it's hypocritical to get in your pulpit and preach the gospel and talk about a savior and you know how to come to Jesus and how I think it's hypocritical to do that and then go behind the backs of the people who are leading a movement to create a change tone and a culture shift and how Black people's monies are respected, I think it's hypocritical to go behind that and accept the check when we were supposed to be one band, one sound, right? And talk about hypocrisy in Jasmine Crockett.
One more thing on that before we move on. You know, one of the things that's happened in the last few days is there are member churches, pastors, who are saying, oh, heck no. And so they are pushing back on the president and the board of the National Baptist Convention.
They need to unseat him.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to lead. He needs to be unseated, because when you do things like that, to me, that is warranted. Remember, we were talking about what warrants you to want to unseat somebody? If you could go behind the mission of what we're doing and accept the check, then you don't need to be in leadership. Step aside, baby. Go work for Target. Maybe you can sit on their board, but you don't need to lead us. But again, talking about hypocrisy, and we mentioned Jasmine Crockett and how they were talking about she's too bold, she's too loud, she's too Black. She's questioning the visa status of the First Lady. And I think that's very bold. I think it's necessary, because if y'all don't know, I watch the news so you don't have to. Melania Trump is in the country on an Einstein visa. I don't think I got to tell you who Einstein was, right? Or what's the meaning of it. I mean, they have cartoons, little Einstein, baby geniuses, right? This woman is in our country on an Einstein visa that is put aside for the best and the brightest in their field. You have to have done extraordinary things in your field. And she's on this visa, and Jasmine Crockett is questioning it. She said integrity isn't snatching lawful visa holders off the streets and throwing them into unmarked vans. Integrity is not revoking visas based on social media posts that hurt somebody's little feelings because kids decided they wanted to go after Trump or this administration. We have a thing called free speech in this country. She then went on to spotlight the double standard and how visas are enforced and discussed, questioning why the Republicans weren't scrutinizing the immigration paths of those close to the president. Why aren't we talking about the integrity when it comes to the president's family's visa, she asked. The congressman specifically targeted Melania Trump 2001 EB-1 visa, also known as an Einstein visa, category typically reserved for individuals with sustained national and international acclaim. She said, let me tell you how you receive an Einstein visa. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. Excuse me. Do you know that the gentleman that runs the Cato Institute, this was his rebuttal to defend the First Lady against Jasmine Crockett? This is what he said. Not everybody could marry Donald Trump. And I think that's quite an achievement. So I think she deserves credit for that.
Yeah, but if you listen to him say it, though, he's mocking Melania. So he's using that as a point, not to support it, but to say it is ridiculous.
No. I push back, Will, because the article said he stepped in to defend Melania.
All right.
That's what the article said. They said the Cato Institute's Alex Nowrasteh,
from Cato,
who also testified during the hearing, then stepped in to defend Melania. He said, and he's the vice president of economic and social policy. Not everybody could marry Donald Trump. And Jasmine quickly chimed in and fired back. You are so right. I couldn't have done it.
Right.
So my question would be, how are they snatching folk off of college campuses? They're meeting people at the immigration office, arresting them, detaining them, putting them God knows where, questioning their visa status. But the First Lady of the United States of America has a visa that she doesn't even qualify for. And their only rebuttal is that she's married to the president? Is that enough?
No, I mean, they're requirements.
That's it.
And
That's
clearly
they
ignored the criteria.
Ignored it. Nobel Peace Prize winners and married to Trump. I think it's insane. Look, we've had quite a show, Will.
We have.
We've had quite a show. And I want to thank all of our WBOK listening audience, those of you who engaged in the chat, and those of you who had the opportunity to call in. I want to say thank you to Larry for calling in. Don called in. Reverend Calhoun, Pastor Manning. Larry called in.
Ken called in.
Ken Jones called in. Thank you to all of you guys who called in. And y'all, look, I called that off the top of my head, so I left you all blame my head and not my heart. But look, Y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch with Grilling and Kimber. As far as the Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta White and Will Sutton. We going to see y'all tomorrow. This is WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about
all day long.